JBN, we keep you informed. 3 shot, 1 fatally in Westmoreland. Man charged. Detectives assigned to the Westmoreland Police Division have charged 1 man in relation to a shooting incident that claimed the life of a man and the injury of 2 women on Hudson Street, Savlamar on Tuesday. The deceased has been identified as 28-year-old Gavin Morgan, otherwise called Chinaman, a laborer of Hudson Street, Savlamar, Westmoreland, charged with murder, illegal possession of a gun and ammunition, and shooting with intent is 29-year-old O'Dane Wilson, otherwise called Bug, a laborer of Barracks Road, Savlamar, Westmoreland. The police report that about 12:30 p.m., Morgan and 2 females were in their yard when they were pounced upon by Wilson and another man traveling on a motorcycle who opened fire, hitting them. The police were alerted, and Morgan and the 2 women were taken to the hospital, where he was pronounced dead and the females admitted for treatment. Following the shooting incident, an investigation was launched, and Wilson was arrested and placed before an identification parade where he was pointed out. Wilson is scheduled to appear before the Western Regional Gun Court on Tuesday, December 10. 4 men have been arrested and charged following a robbery on Deanery Road in St. Andrew. Charged with robbery with aggravation are Dante Fraser, 18, of Wellington Street, Kingston, 14. Dave Williams, otherwise called Nicoy, 18, of Blunt Street in Denham Town, Kingston, 14. Giovanni Gale, otherwise called Gio, 18, of Upper Regent Street in Kingston, 14, and Garfield Anderson, otherwise called Matthew, mechanic of Homestead Road, Kingston, 2. The police report that about 3:20 p.m. on Tuesday, all 4 men were in a motor car when one of them exited the vehicle and grabbed the complainant's cell phone before punching her in the face. A police team that was nearby observed what happened and arrested the men. They were subsequently charged. They are scheduled to appear in the Kingston and St. Andrew Parish Court on Thursday, December 12. Westmoreland man murdered in home invasion. The Westmoreland police are probing the circumstances surrounding the shooting death of a man and the seizure of a gun and several rounds of ammunition in Hertford on Tuesday. The deceased has been identified as 25-year-old Jermaine Thomas, otherwise called Brown Man. The police report that about 6 a.m., residents reportedly heard explosions and alerted them. On their arrival, Thomas was seen lying inside his house in blood with gunshot wounds. Upon closer examination of the scene, 1 9mm pistol with a magazine containing 10 rounds of ammunition was seen beside his body. The scene was processed and the body removed to the morgue. Multi-million-dollar robberies rock Montego Bay. 2 prominent business operators in Montego Bay are still reeling from the shock of being fleeced of several millions of dollars after robbers gained entry to their establishment on the weekend and stole more than $6 million in hard cash and goods. Reports are that robbers gained entry to the GP Wholesale on St. James Street and stole over $3.7 million in cash, several cartons of cigarettes, and a large quantity of phone cards. When the police arrived on the scene, it was discovered that the thieves had gained entry to the building by cutting a hole in the roof. Another alarm was raised at the administrative office on Church Street on Monday morning, where it was discovered that a safe containing millions of dollars was forced open and the cash stolen. Percy Grant, a business operator in the Second City, said that though there is currently a state of emergency SOE and a zone of special operations ZOZO in effect in the parish, those have done little to deter criminals from wreaking havoc. In the meantime, Sergeant Hewlett Lewis Green, the Corporate Communications Unit Liaison Officer for St. James, stated that business operators are being encouraged to hire reputable security companies to guard their businesses if they are forced to leave large sums of cash at the establishment. Business operators must try to transport their cash to the bank on a daily basis, and they can feel free to ask for police escorts, which is free of cost. One may not see a police officer in uniform in the township, but that does not mean that the police are not there. Officers on covert operations are always in and around the city of Montego Bay on a 24-hour basis to ensure the safety of the public, she said. 2 years on, cops failed to collar cricketer Darren Powell. The police have for the past 2 years failed to execute a warrant of committal on Jamaican cricketer turned politician Darren Powell, who has been held in contempt because of his failure to comply with a 2016 court order. The warrant of committal, which is used to enforce a court order on a person or company that has not complied, was issued by the Supreme Court in 2017, arising from Powell's 2012 purchase of a supermarket in St. Elizabeth from operator Quintex Limited. It is understood that Powell purchased the business in 2012 for about $38 million, but has paid over just under $17 million so far. Speaking on Wednesday, Kurt Chin, managing director of Quintex Limited, said that Powell's failure to make payments forced him to take the issue to court. In a ruling handed down in April 2016, the Supreme Court ordered Powell to pay $20 million, inclusive of cost and interest, in 5 installments beginning that month. He made one single payment, and I can't get in touch with him. His lawyer can't get in touch with him. The bailiff can't get in touch with him. I really don't know how to describe it. He can be found, but we are getting the runaround that they can't locate him, Chin said. He's in St. Elizabeth. I honestly think he's protected down there. The retired cricketer was photographed attending the Jamaica Labour Party's JLP annual conference at the National Arena in Kingston on November 24 this year, apparently switching political allegiance. A former People's National Party councillor for the Malvern Division, Powell was clean bowled when he rose to challenge the JLP's long-standing North West St. Elizabeth Member of Parliament J.C. Hutchinson in 2016, losing by 914 votes. Powell's failure to comply with the court order forced Chin to go back to court again, where he made an application for committal, which was granted and the warrant issued. Chin said that the company decided to sell the supermarket when his father fell ill. It was at this point that he entered into a sale agreement with Powell. Several calls to Stacey Knight, the attorney who represented Powell at the time, went unanswered. Jamaican man on assault charges in BVI granted bail, claims self-defense. 24-year-old Jamaican Prince Akeem Bambury was granted bail amounting to US $40,000 when he appeared in court after he allegedly inflicted serious wounds on another man in the Capitol Road town. The court was told that on November 30, Bambury was near a food van when the complainant bumped into him. There was an exchange of words and a tussle ensued. It is alleged that sometime later, the two men again met when the accused, who was reportedly armed with a knife, attacked the complainant. It is further alleged that the complainant tried to defend himself against the alleged knife attack, but sustained several cuts to his body in the process. The complainant attempted to flee when he stumbled and fell to the ground. The accused man allegedly inflicted a final cut to his person before walking away. The complainant was later taken to the hospital for medical attention. During the police investigation, closed-circuit television or CCTV footage was extracted from the area of the incident, and the accused was arrested on suspicion of the offense. During the arrest, a knife was found on the accused, the court heard. But in response to the allegations, Bambury, while admitting that he inflicted the wounds, said he was defending himself. He reportedly said that when the complainant bumped into him near the food van, the complainant was under the influence of alcohol, and during the argument, the complainant punched him. He reportedly claimed that when they met for the second time that night, he thought the complainant was about to attack him. Hence, he pulled his weapon and used it. The court ordered Bambury to surrender all his travel documents, have no contact with the complainant or any other witnesses, and report to the Road Town Police Station every Monday and Friday between 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. The matter was subsequently adjourned to February 6 next year. We heard in Legacy Projects timeline, says Hunter. National Works Agency NWA CEO E.G. Hunter has blamed bureaucratic bungling for several missed deadlines in the completion of the legacy road projects in the corporate area. He said that when the NWA signed off on the contracts to upgrade both the Constant Spring and Hagley Park corridors, completion dates were announced prematurely as they were not revised despite the scope of the project being widened. Hunter said it has been a costly error as the public wrongfully believed that it was a single contract that should be over by now. On December 4, 2017, China Arbor Engineering Company Czech and the government signed a contract valued at US $19 million for the widening and improvement of the Constant Spring Road in St. Andrew. Then in March 2018, Cabinet approved a contract valued at $56.5 million for works along Hagley Park Road that included the installation of new traffic signals, turning lanes, median barriers, and road markings. We signed a contract for the roadworks, and the water and the sewage elements were later added as separate but parallel integrated contracts, Hunter said. We thought at the time we would have been able to bring it in on the same schedule, although the waterworks were signed after the road contracts, and it added a degree of difficulty to the original works. He reasoned that a proliferation of leaks and the condition of the existing mains threw the work off schedule. That misdiagnosis meant that the public was always going to be expecting all works to end at the same time, so that was our mistake, Hunter added. He said that the real challenge the NWA faces as it nears the end of the contracts is the issue relating to the waterworks, calling it a delicate balancing act, as the existing mains had to stay in place on Constant Spring Road before the new ones were ready to go into full service. Most of the water and sewage mains across the corporate area are more than 85 years old and in need of rehabilitation. Those running the length of Hagley Park and Constant Spring Roads are being taken offline gradually, while new mains are pressure tested before being put into operation. The outstanding items now relate largely to repairing areas impacted by the leaks and the laying of final surfaces in some parts, but we have unfettered drive all the way from Manor Park, although little work is still going on in the vicinity of the bridge at Marketplace, while only minor works remain on Hagley Park Road noted until. What we did has been tremendously complex. It has been really difficult work, and it was a great effort made to ensure that every cent spent was value for money. Soon and very soon, people will be using the carpet onto set of the projects, which are now expected to be completed by the end of the year. JBN, we keep you informed. Please remember, like, subscribe, share, leave us a comment, and click the notification bell to receive our daily news items.